First two Republicans who appeared to have support to become Speaker via that candidate forum, Congressman Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan, well, they were forced to drop out of the running after multiple failed votes on the floor. 9 Republicans are now in the race to replace ousted Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Now, it's worth noting that only 2 of them, Congressman Tom Emmer of Minnesota and Congressman Austin Scott of Georgia, voted to certify President Biden's 2020 victory. So far, the only person who has come the closest to the magic number of votes needed to win the speakership is Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Unless something changes, folks, and it will need to change fast, the chaos in the Republican-run House will affect several crucial issues, including the war in the Middle East and the fast-approaching government funding deadline. November 17th, again, is right around the corner. Hopefully, Republicans can get their House in order before then, though. Joining me now to discuss it all is the fabulous Congresswoman Maxine Waters. She represents the great state of California and is the ranking member on the House Financial Services Committee. Congresswoman, Democrats have been united in voting for Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries to become the next speaker. If this process just continues to drag out, what are the chances that some of your moderate Republican colleagues would be open to a power-sharing agreement with Democrats to essentially vote for Jeffries to get back to work?
I'm not optimistic that we'll be able to get, 5 Republicans or so to join with us. They're either frightened of Trump or they don't trust their own leadership to guide them. It is chaotic. As you first said when you came on the show, it is an absolute mess over there. And I am not optimistic that there are moderate Republicans anymore that will join with us.
It really struck me that out of the 9 House Republicans who are currently vying for the speakership, none of them are women. Only 2 of them voted to certify the election that we all know Joe Biden won. And this morning, former Republican House Speaker Newt Gingrich had some comments about this current crop of potential speakers. Take a listen.
I frankly wish that they, and Calista and I have talked about this, I wish they had a woman candidate out of all the candidates they've got running. So somebody like Elise Stefanik or Beth Van Dyne, who had been a mayor of a city before becoming a congressman. I think in some ways, given the level of rowdiness and the level of juvenile behavior, it's conceivable that a female speaker would be more effective in actually getting them all to get together and stick together.
Congresswoman, what do you think about Newt Gingrich's comments?
Well, I don't think much of Newt Gingrich. I've worked with him. I've known him. But it's interesting that he's weighing in, and perhaps he has absolutely given up on all of the men. Of course, I am supportive of women. I'm supportive of women being in leadership positions. I'm supportive of women, running for office and all of that. They've increased the women's participation on the Republican side of the aisle somewhat, but I don't see any great support for women, particularly in the way that Newt Gingrich is talking about the possibility of one of them becoming speaker. I don't think that's realistic.
Congresswoman Waters, can you just illuminate, for people out there that don't understand, it is, for lack of a better term, crazy to me that people like Byron Donalds, folks that have only served in the House for a short amount of time, people that have never passed a bill, right, are putting their name in the hat to be speaker. Can you just explain to folks out there why, regardless, even though Democrats are in the minority, Republicans do have to work with Democrats if they want to get things done, and promoting someone like Jim Jordan, for example, wouldn't necessarily achieve those goals?
Well, they're desperate. And so some of these younger members are seeing that there's no order, that no one is really in charge. I guess they say, I'll just throw my name out there also. Maybe because of all of this chaos, maybe I will emerge. It is desperation. It is lack of organizing. It is just the inability of the Republican Party to get its act together. And so I guess anybody can attempt to throw their hat in the ring because anything can happen. We don't know what's going to happen on Monday morning. We don't know if we're going to end up sitting on the floor of the House of Representatives going through votes for someone who doesn't stand a ghost of a chance. What a waste of time. We only had 45 days with this continuing resolution. And as you said, November 17th is drop dead on the continuing resolution. We've got to get all the appropriations bills done so that we can get a budget for the United States of America. And this is where we are with the Republicans who are not capable of running the House of Representatives. They just don't have anybody that's really up to that job.
So then, Congresswoman, what happens then if this week Republicans fail yet again to find consensus within their caucus? What are we just going to keep going through this again and again and again? At some point, this has to end, does it not?
Well, the Constitution doesn't speak to that because I guess it's never been anticipated anywhere along the line when we were doing amendments, et cetera, et cetera. So we don't know what will happen. As a matter of fact, I think it's time for the people of this country to speak up. I think it's time for Republicans who have elected their representative to come to Washington, D.C. to do the job of representing the people. I think now we need to hear from the public. The pressure needs to come from the people who are electing them to be in these positions. So I'm hopeful that there will be enough outside pressure to force them to get their act together, because otherwise I don't have any hope. I don't believe that they can work it out anytime soon. Again, we may be sitting on the floor of Congress changing who is ever trying to be the speaker day in and day out. They could go on for 2 days for one member of the Republican Party. It could go on for another 1 day. It could go on for another 4 days. We just don't know. We have no idea.
Goodness. Oh, my goodness. Well, California Congresswoman Maxine Waters, I appreciate you for coming on today and just making it plain for us. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you so very much. Keep talking to the people. Perhaps they will put the pressure on.
Perhaps they will.